Hello, everyone, and welcome to this NASS bonus episode. I am your host for this episode, Jose.
I'm your other guy, George.
I'm the girl, Marie.
Miguel.
No, today it is a Marie.
Marie! Oh, I don't got that in me today.
Yeah. Well, we are back for a little more Alien Earth. Specifically, we're going to be covering episode six, right? That's what we're on, episode
Yep,
six.
the fly.
Okay. Yeah. Now, we previously covered episode five and four on their own, and the first three in a bunch. You can find that on Not a Strong Start channel. You can go back and check out some of our content on that. We also did, Marie and I, a preview before it came out. So if you have not been with us this whole time and want to catch up on some of our thoughts and where our thought process has been, go right into the channel and check it out. But real quick, first, a message from our sponsor.
Through the years of cinema, we've laughed. We've screamed. We've cried. Forever asking the question.
What the hell does that mean?
Well, no longer do you have to sit there in wonderment, attempting to figure out what your cinephile friend is going on about with terms like cinematography, ADR, or Dutch angles. Thanks to the good people over at Cinematicalism, they've done the impossible and compiled a 500-plus page book filled with on-set jargon and filmmaking terminology, all broken down and digestible for all levels of film fans, from the leisured moviegoer to tenured filmmaking pros. What is the book? I'm getting to it. It's the Comprehensive Dictionary of Cinema, filled with 1,500 terms culminating across 9 sections. Enjoy the language of cinema, from industry slang to academic theory, visual tropes to cultural movements, all curated by filmmaking professionals who have over 20 years of experience working in the industry. Where can we get it? Back it now on Kickstarter. Click our link below to be part of the many backers who have made the Comprehensive Dictionary of Cinema a project we love on Kickstarter. Hitting their goal within the first 15 minutes, now let's help them reach those stretch goals of a VCR player. Yes, you heard that right. With plenty of package bundles to choose from, there's no wrong way to support Cinematicalism. Again, click our link in the description and back the Comprehensive Dictionary of Cinema today. Coming soon this winter.
Want to make sure before you continue this episode, this is going to be spoiler filled. We're going to get into every little nook and cranny of this episode. So if you have not watched it yet, hit pause, put us in that save to watch later, and you can come back to this because we absolutely do not want to ruin anything in this episode for you. With that being said, let's get right into it. You're not here to hear about old episodes. You're here to hear about the new episodes. Now, how many here's can I put it within one sentence? That's what I was just thinking right there as I
I
was
was
saying
counting
that.
it. I was
Here. All right, episode six. So right off the bat, George, we've got I'm gonna call it the baby Xeno scene. Well,
Yeah.
what can you tell us about that scene, George?
This show has a lot of firsts, I gotta say, and they're not bad firsts. This is the first time we're seeing a xenomorph in this little like what we'll say toddler stage. It's like they're
Mm.
terrible twos or something,
Yeah.
you know? And we've never got to see this part because usually it's just like Chestburster, adult, because they grow so quick. So like I'm feeling like we're just heading off the heels of the last episode by getting to see this little xenomorph so youthful. We're getting to see that Marcy is now, or Wendy,
Yeah.
is learning the language a bit more. Like she's communicating with this baby xenomorph, and it's almost like she's kind of controlling it because we see its tail move with the arc of her arm as it's moving across from it, mirroring each other. At the same time, though, xenomorphs feel like rebellious creatures, and it does kind of like strike at her a little bit, almost like I used to have snakes growing up. It felt like that. Like most snakes, like especially like constrictors, are docile as long as you feed them. But every once in a while, they'll snap at you, you know. And that's what this kind of felt like in that moment. Was that little moment like, hey, we're cool, but we ain't that cool, you know. But it's
Yeah.
interesting getting to like see her communicate with it. It's like, and it's kind of what we've been talking about. It's like will she get to a point where she can kind of control this thing? And it feels like we're almost getting there.
Yeah, and I agree with you on this. I feel describing it as this toddler stage was like perfect because we do see some of that behavior again with the mimicking, but then also the boundary testing that
Yeah.
you would get with like a toddler where it's just like, all right, I'm gonna push this limit, see if I can get over. Couldn't do anything, then I just kind of went back to that. What I found interesting is so where we left off, we were like, oh damn, like are they best friends already? Like is that his queen? Because the way we left there, but here it shows they're not quite there yet. So she must have like lulled it enough that they were able to capture it because now it's in this cage. It didn't run loose and go, somewhere to hide to grow like the xenomorph usually does. So now it's in this cage and we see this little baby, which you can kind of see, I guess it's a hybrid of like the adult Xeno and the Chestburster because you still
Yeah.
see some of the snake-like qualities of it in the way it was designed. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then we do establish that and she even says it, she's still developing the language. She still can't fluently talk with it. So she's using it to learn, which is funny because that's like trying to learn human language from an actual toddler. Like, how much are you actually going to get? Like, let me go learn from the
Yeah.
baby how to speak English. So I thought that was cool. Marie, what was your thoughts on this little intro scene that we saw here?
Mixed. I'm still not with the whole communicating with the xenomorph thing and like her having this like feelings towards it. And I still want her to hate the xenomorphs because I know you're saying like, oh, maybe she doesn't see it as a threat because she killed one. And I know that she's sensitive and has this warmth in her for like all creatures and like they didn't choose to be here. But like you saw how dangerous it was, and sure you beat one, but you should know that it could be a threat to humanity. So therefore, why are you so cutesy with it? Like why are you still so warm about it? It just bugs me. I don't maybe because I just don't want to see that at all in any alien movie, like this sympathy for it and this like bonding and like where the bonding is gonna go. Like I'm still like I don't want it. Like I just don't. And I don't know. And just her communicating with it. I'm like, how do you know? Like, how do you know what it's saying? It's not like she's watching it communicate with other xenomorphs. Like in Alien Resurrection, we kind of learn, we kind of figure out what the aliens xenomorphs are saying because they're communicating with one another. But she's learning a language from what? Like, I don't understand how. Like, I guess it's just, I don't know. I'm like, okay, sure. I'm not digging this whole communication with the xenomorph storyline and the way it's going so far. So I'm just like, ugh, kind of. Sorry.
It it kind of reminded me of you see those videos of like, you know, kids tend to know what things, well, they tend to be told what things are dangerous. But then you see like videos where a kid will walk up right up to a snake, like, oh, look, here's a
Yeah.
snake. And they just like grab it and start whipping it around. It's like they've been told of that danger. But this is where you see a lot of that childlike mentality where
We've
she's
seen
just
the danger though,
curious,
very, very violently and very
but not
graphically.
to herself. But not to,
But
it
she's
wasn't a
seen
danger.
if my kid saw a dog if my daughter saw a dog viciously attack her brother, she would hate dogs forever no matter what. She'd be scared of them and be like all dogs should die. Like there's something
But
wrong with it to
what if
me.
the dog ran up to her right after and she smacked it and the dog was like, "Arr," and like ran away? Do you think she still had the same level of fear for
Yeah, I
the
think she would
for the
always for
dog?
life have a fear for dogs, yes. Because I have a fear for birds for attacking my head once. And I'm like, I hate all birds forever because I'm like, I'm always gonna have that fear. And because of childhood traumatization, which she's a kid's brain, right? You get traumatized from things as kids.
You know what you need to
That
do?
didn't traumatize her.
You need to defeat a bird, Marie. You need to put that on your bucket list.
Whoa,
One
bunch of
on
Who's
birds.
saying
one.
who's saying I didn't? Who's saying I haven't? I mean,
Your fear is
dang.
saying you haven't.
One Canadian goose at a time.
Oh my God, they're the worst. Don't. I don't know. I can't. I'm just not on board with it yet because I don't find it believable. Even like having kids, I'm like, this isn't believable to me because they're scared. They're way more scared than they're letting on. My daughter will run through a hallway if it's slightly too dark. Like she's petrified of things. It's not like, oh, you're innocent. She's just like, I hate the dark. I don't know why. Freaks me out. And like, I don't know. I can't. I don't know. I still don't like it so far. I'm sorry.
I'd argue this, and the episode really portrays this well. She's not a kid anymore. Being in this
Well,
synthetic body has changed everything. And I think every episode, and especially this one, is solidifying the fact that she's no longer that child. She doesn't connect with that child or the humanity that it was tied to. Like she's evolving to something new. So that's why I'm okay with that, because we can see she's not affiliated with that mentality anymore. She's on a more logical level than an emotional level, which she pretty much states later on when talking to the lady doctor.
And we're also
no,
we are seeing in
I don't buy it.
yeah, and
I
we're
don't.
also seeing a difference here. Like I said, even within kids themselves, there's going to be differences. I've seen kids that are afraid of their own shadow, but then I've seen other kids that it's like, okay, you have too little fear. There's like you need to actually get some fear in your life because you're gonna hurt yourself. So then we also see that variation, and we kind of see that here with we see Nibs was the name, where it's like she had the fear, she got traumatized. This started messing with her brain and everything. So we see that end of the spectrum, and then Wendy, where it's like her curiosity of it is more powerful than a fear. She doesn't have the fear aspect of it. So we do see kind of that range that we would see normally with variety of kids. If you were to put a whole bunch of them in there, you're gonna be all over the spectrum when it comes to how daredevilness and fear and all of that aspect. But we're gonna see how this plays off with this continued communication. I do agree with you on one thing, Marie, on this is that, and I kind of touched on it a little bit when I was talking about like you literally trying to learn from the toddler. In here is I don't know how much of this language she's actually getting and deciphering. The only thing I can think of is she's piecing together a mix of whatever she's getting from this xenomorph and also whatever she's getting from the eggs themselves, and kind of piecing everything together because in the end, her brain is a fast computer, an extremely fast computer. So she's probably able to pick up patterns and things that way. But if she's only learning from this xenomorph, it's probably still learning its own type of communication or language. It makes it a little hard to believe, but we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah.
Right,
No, I think
James?
of that as real quick. I think of it as signals. So like if you were to take bees or ants, which they utilize as an analogy in this episode, you can take a queenless hive of bees and then mix them with another hive. They've never met each other, but yet they'll speak the same language. They'll have the same signals that they pass through each other because it's not the same way that we communicate with our sounds and everything. That because it's signal based, I think that maybe changes how things are interpreted within like their language. So I think of it more of an insect way as opposed to like a human way, which I think is why it doesn't seem feasible that she can learn from the toddler. But I think if you look at it that way, it is very easy for her to figure it out because it's not basing things off of emotions.
Part of it makes me wonder if because we're seeing again we saw a lot of like mimicking, just doing all these movements. If there is some kind of pairing of the sounds with the movements and kind of creating patterns that way. Even with humans, sometimes when they're learning language, they can learn using motions, shapes, colors, different methods to be able to create those connections to language itself. But again, this is all speculation. This is just kind of depends how we see it.
Yeah.
We might just be completely BSing it, and the writers had a completely different idea on how that's going. But moving forward, we kind of get into the examination of the hybrid Nibs. So when we last saw Nibs, she thought she was pregnant. She thought she was Mary. And, she got a little aggressive and pounced on the scientist slash therapist and, was probably pretty close to hurting her if she kept pushing her buttons. In there where they had to call basically a code red and then kind of take her away. So they're examining what happened. Here, we're starting to see a little bit even further on how they view these hybrids and how they're basically a product or a property to most of them, where instead of treating the symptom of what she's going through, which was suggested of, through therapy and time and patience, we can get past these hurdles that she's having, because this character had these psychological issues before she became a hybrid, when she was a child. So that is translating now into the hybrid body and stuff that they're in right now. So their decision is to, you know what, just wipe all the bad stuff. That's it. Like, just revert her back to settings like she was Windows. Like, all right, let's revert it back to November 17th settings of last year, and we'll kind of take it from there. So that's their option. Even though probably a predictor of what may happen, they say this might make things worse if we start removing things in there instead of actually treating it. Now, in this scene, the husband seems like the only person with morals here, and it's like, I'm not doing it. And we've seen this pattern with him where he's just kind of been on the other side of like, okay, this isn't right, and kind of trying to fight. He seems to see them, even though he literally said in one scene, "You're just a machine," with his words, but his actions seem to look at them as more like he has like actual care from them. And I mentioned in the last episode, I don't fully trust this woman at all. I think she comes off as motherly and stuff, but I just see it as a facade. And I felt we saw more of that side of her here, where she was willing to go with the company and pass that moral barrier and go against her husband, even though her husband's getting fired, and I really speak up for him, for the company and for the science.
I thought the whole conversation about altering Nib's personality and like reaction to stimuli and everything very interesting, and being like, okay, well, she won't be the same person if you do that, but it's like they want her not to be the same person, but she won't be herself, right? And removing trauma is essentially removing like a part of who you are, and I just found like this whole scene, so that's how real life is with doctors and medication and medical treatments and stuff. You go to your doctor, this is how I feel, I had this happen to me, okay, take this pill, okay, take this, take that. And it's not getting down to, like you say, like the root cause, treating that, getting over the actual issue, and they just band-aid over it and try to wipe it clean. And I just thought that was just like very real to what actually happens to kids, especially nowadays. And also, well, any adult. Like I know when I go to the doctor and I'm like, listen, this is what's going on with me. And it's how many times I've been prescribed drugs is like for everything. Like, take this, take this, take this. Oh, you don't want to do this? Oh, just take this anxiety medication. Then you'll be able to do it. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Like, stop. I want to get down deeper. And like, I just found that whole conversation very like, oh yeah, that's real life. That's real life. So I loved that whole scene.
And you make a really good point. Again, it's like I'll compare it to something mechanical because they are physically mechanical. It was like if your
That's the
car's
debate of the whole show, though, right? Like that's the debate of
yeah.
the whole
Yeah.
show. But yeah,
Well,
sorry.
yeah, mentally, but physically they
Yeah,
are
yeah,
like mechanical.
yes.
So it was like if the tires of your car keep wearing down quickly because your car is not
Mhm.
aligned properly, and you're like, let's just switch out the tires. Guess what? Those new tires are just gonna get eroded just as quickly because you didn't fix the underlying issue. They
Mhm.
took away that incident that traumatized her, but whatever she has psychologically that creates that situation for her to be traumatized is still there. So something
Yeah,
else similar happens, we're right back at step one. So,
exactly. Yeah.
George, what were your thoughts on that scene?
Two things, I guess. One being like it made me question like if they don't care about the personalities of these children staying there, and it kind of feels like they just want AI in synthetic bodies, right? Which is like, well, then why
Yeah.
don't you just put AI in these bodies? Why did you bother with this? Which, granted, I think it has to
Hmm.
do something with like, it's the immortality race, of course. Like they want to have humans be immortal, but it also feels like, well, but you don't want personality though. If you can't secure personality, then you don't get the immortality that you want for your self being. So there's that. I also felt actually I take it back three things. I really it pissed me off when she betrayed her husband in that scene. I got so frick. I was like, "And you're back, Babadook, you son of a bitch." It's like he needed her in that moment, and she was so quick to just be like, "Nah, I can do it." And it's like she could have spoke up. She didn't say anything. Her face said like, "I feel bad," and like, "Oh, don't leave." But her actions were just like, "Sucks to suck," you know. And part of me felt
I got
because
my
like,
job.
yeah, and I felt like it's because maybe she now sees this project as her baby, which I've seen this firsthand with people who have lost or have, miscarriage or whatever. Like when there is not that ability to conceive, then something else has to take that place. And
Hmm.
I think that's what's happened here for her is that this is my baby. I have to take care of it. And while I don't like what he wants me to do, it's better I do it than a stranger. It's better that I handle this because I'll handle it with the care that needs to be done as opposed to someone else. So I,
Mm-hmm.
I think she still does care. It's just she's not looking at it at the same level that he is. Like he's very emotional. It's like I don't want to lose what they are. Well, her, she's like, I don't either, but hey, this might help. Like they're just coming at it from different angles, I think. It's fucked up and it pissed me off, but I get it to that point. But I'll also add that so they erase her mind, but there's no like protocol to like
Oh
let
God.
to let
Yes.
everyone else know that,
Yes. I had that
that
right here in capital letters in bold.
yeah, because it's just like
Yes.
because I agree with what you said, Jose. Like the underlying thing that made her have that trauma, or like the thing in her personality that will always be affected by something like that, is there. But what's not going to
Yes.
help is the fact that no one else knows that her mind was wiped. You know, like you wipe her mind, you got to wipe everyone's mind that was connected to that situation, or you inform them about it and explain it in a way so that it doesn't get messed up. But like there has to be a process that everyone else is involved. The fact that no one else was told, it's like, what did you think was going to happen? Did you think they were never going to talk about this? And now she thinks she's a crazy bitch. And
I know. Back to point, like back to
yeah,
the start.
it's
Like,
going to be a new problem. Like it's going to be a problem regardless, but it's going to be a new set of like how she handles it.
This
yeah.
solution lasted 5 minutes. She
Yeah.
literally woke up
Yeah.
and boom, right away. She didn't even have time to go have a coffee or
Yeah,
use the
why wasn't Dame
bathroom.
there? Why wasn't Dame there to be when she woke up to like prep her for all this? No, no. Wendy's there, like, hey, what's up, bro?
And I wonder how much that had to do with Kirsch not being there, because Kirsch is kind of like their taker. Like, yes, they're the scientists, they play the human like parent figure to it, but Kirsch is really the one that kind of
He leads.
watches over
Yeah.
them and leads over them. So he probably, I feel, if he was there, he would have been like, "That's stupid." And illogical. And if you are going to make that decision, because they could go over his head to do it, the other guy seems to have more power than Kirsch. He would be like, okay, then this is what we need to do. This is what we need to do in that situation. So I feel that has something to do with it. But yeah, I wrote that in bold letters. That was so idiotic. I was like, what are you doing? Like right off the bat.
No, say they could have just been like even in a really nice emotional like caring way rounded up all the hybrids and been like okay, so Nibs had an episode. This sometimes happens to people because they want like this sometimes happens to your brain when you go through a trauma. So we gave her some medicine so she's not going to remember. So let's not bring it up because it might trigger this episode again. Like and just really they're already showing how they're really good at manipulating like children. So
Mhm.
like just say that. And that like would have been like a little like 2 minute scene and it'd been like, oh, okay, wow. And I just can't believe that wasn't anything. Also, this goes back to my whole thing. I know it's a secret project, sort of, and I know it's a secret island, but at the same time, it's like there is not enough effing staff for this place to like look over anything that's going on. Like there should be people like, oh, I don't know. That'll come back later again.
Yeah.
There's
See,
like
I
not there can't only be like 8 people working at this place to watch these hybrids.
I thought of that too. And I feel story wise, that kind of goes into the arrogance of Boy
Cavalier.
Cavalier. I feel his arrogance, the fact like I don't need all that. Like I'm good in a way. I just and to go with what you were saying, George, with it like this again, this shows what their true purpose is with the hybrids. It isn't really to extend life itself in that manner where you kind of get to live on as yourself, is to sell the concept of immortality at its base, but not to full fruition in a way. So they're not going to explain all those details once they put this out to market, which it seems by that conversation they're planning to put it out there and present it pretty damn soon,
Yeah.
which is why they're rushing this procedure with Nibs. But it shows you they're just going to sell like, hey, you want to live forever, but not really get into the details of what version of them. They just want these to be happy, so everyone looks at it like, I want that, regardless if they're broken or they're not broken. Speaking of corporation, we got to see a corporate hearing, got to see a little bit on how things are managed in this new world.
Yeah, this was actually another interesting scene of things where I was conflicted because we get to see like a little, I don't want to say hearing, but a legal procedure between the two companies of Prodigy and Wayland Yutani. And two different sides where Yutani is so professional to the letter, and then we got freaking Boy Cavalier over here being cavalier, not giving a care about the situation whatsoever. And they're trying to get to a settlement of how Yutani can get their assets back, but also some provisions for Boy Cavalier's city, which got freaking torn to shreds by that ship. And there's a little speculation. Boy Cavalier points fingers of like, hey, how do we know you didn't do this on purpose? Kind of going to Jose's point before of the speculation, like, what does she plan that shit? Which what we know the truth. We know that she didn't plan that shit. We know that he planned that shit. And I found it interesting that he kind of just twisted that on her. And despite the fact that they have the evidence proving that it was him, they don't put it out there to save their asses. Instead, they let him use the bureaucracy of laws that state that they can't bring alien life forms to Earth. So she's in trouble now, which I thought that was really interesting. I was like, you have an ace up your sleeve that you can use to get yourself out of this, but you're not using it. Why? So that got me kind of curious. Either that's really bad writing again, or there's a plan. And I want there to be a plan. Like that makes sense for her not trump carding his ass in this conversation. Because he owned this whole thing.
I do got something for that. First of all, I feel in this scene we kind of got to see again, one of my issues early in the season, it was like, why is Boy Cavalier who he is? Why is he in this position? I'm not seeing anything extravagant in there. And then we saw the last episode, a little bit of his kind of manipulation. And we got to see more of that here, where he was able to use their own laws against them. Saw that connivingness and that resourcefulness within that. So I thought that was good, kind of see his prowess and his intelligence actually being used in that manner. Regarding that, it made me think. You're saying they and she. Does she know? Has Morrow actually told her specifically? When we saw their interaction, he just said he wants to take out Boy Cavalier and he's going to end them. But we never saw him actually reveal the full details, did we? I don't think
We never see it, but he does also state that he wants to get the assets back. And that he's like we said before, he seems loyal. He appears to be loyal to Yutani and he wants to do what's right for the company. So it seems like he would tell her, like this is one of those things where I will admit to you, like there's a lot of assumption. Like we're assuming he's doing this because of his actions. So the assumption is that he would tell her that he knows the truth because he downloaded all that information into himself.
But what I'm saying is here is I know he has that. He knows that. How much has he actually told Yutani?
Yeah, it's
Because
assumption. It's assumption.
yeah, there's a
Yeah,
possibility he hasn't told her because I feel like she would have used that trump card. But it is to the advantage of one of his goals for that information not to get out there. Because if he tells her and she uses that trump card, they can get the assets through political means. because then he's in the wrong and the other five corporations gang up and kind of force him to relinquish all the assets. But then he can't get to Boy Cavalier, which not only getting the asset, but ending Boy Cavalier is one of his motivations, which he has verbally said. So that not getting out there and not letting it happen through legal channels still allows him the chance of getting in there and accomplishing that part of his mission, kind of doing both things he wants, getting the asset and getting to Boy Cavalier. So I'm wondering if he's actually purposely holding back that information and she didn't use it because she doesn't know that there's video evidence.
That's a possibility,
Hmm.
honestly.
My favorite part about this scene was seeing Boy Cavalier being kind of a genius, a manipulative genius. Like, I actually was like, okay, so he knows his shit. He knows how to manipulate. So, like, at the beginning, you're like, okay, this guy, like, what's up? Like, what's his deal? But like, seeing him be such an obnoxious little prick too, like, it really got on my nerves. Like, I was like, get your ass on your chair, you little. Like, I was getting mad. Like, I was getting mad as a viewer. Get your feet off the table, you little piece of shit. But then he was like coming with all these facts on facts on facts, and I was like, damn. I kind of like that he won that argument just because he had, even though I don't like him. I was like, well, can't argue with that. And if she does know, I would have liked to see some sort of tell for that, like when it focused close in on her face, a little smirk or something. Like I feel like she didn't really do, like if she had a trick up her sleeve, like you're saying, George, you can't really tell by anything that was shown. She looked pretty pissed and she looked pretty like, oh shit. So a little tell would have been good if she does know to have that trick up her sleeve, but I don't know. I don't know if she does. I don't know if Morrow really fully said anything
I
to her.
also feel we probably would have gone like after it ended, where if Morrow had told her, you probably would have been like, why didn't you show them the video or something like that? Like, I just feel she doesn't know.
It's hard to tell with this show because, like you said, there's been some
Yeah.
writing choices where you're like, don't make us assume so much because it's like just show us. But she seemed pretty like her demeanor was pretty much like she didn't. So I don't know. Well, we'll have to wait and see because who knows?
We also got an interesting scene between Morrow and Kirsch in the
Yeah.
elevator, a little verbal sword fighting back and forth, which I thought was pretty cool and pretty interesting. I don't think this is the last time we're gonna see these confronting each other, and it's funny because Morrow lets Kirsch know part of what he knows, that he knows about the hybrids and that they exist. But Kirsch doesn't reveal anything. Kirsch doesn't even hint that he knows everything that he's planning. He knows that he's talking to his guy. Like Kirsch just kind of keeps everything inside. And it's just kind of like, all right, I'm gonna verbally spar with you. And even during that meeting, you can see Kirsch just kind of smirking over at Morrow. Like, I know what you're doing.
Hmm.
So I felt like that was a little interesting dynamic and a really good scene of them going back and forth.
All right, that was like a scene of chess, man. Like that
Yeah.
whole between the lawyer scene and then transitioning to that, it was just chess all around,
Hmm.
honestly. And I kind of like this is very surface level, but it's almost like a real chessboard because Kirsch is white and Morrow is black.
Got the visuals.
Yeah.
Got the visuals too.
It was only funny to me because at first because I shared it with myself as I was watching it last night. I was like, ha, ha, ha. And Jen's looking at me like, what are we laughing at? I was like, I don't want to say it out loud right now. I don't.
Hey, we could reach even further and
uh,
we could be like, hey, Kirsch is a simp, but we've had a simp called the bishop. So there we go.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
whoa, whoa.
And
Yeah.
there's a character named Rook later on too. So, man, no,
All
this
right.
scene was so
Nice.
dope. Like it
Yeah.
is. That was one of those situations where I was like, see, this is good writing. How like
Yeah.
there's a different person writing for these characters
Yeah.
than who's writing for everyone else. Because I am enjoying what's happening with these two right now.
This scene, both of those scenes, those were a verbal action scene.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
that was. Moving on to the
Mm.
next scene. So as they are flying back, Kirsch lets what Isaac, his new name is Isaac,
yeah.
lets Isaac know, hey, basically go over there, follow protocol, go feed all like these creatures, and he actually he lies. And again, it seems like Isaac really with the name change and everything. He just really wants to prove himself. He wants to gain Kirsch's respect, is the feeling that I have from what we've seen in these episodes. So he lies that Curly isn't with him, probably knowing that Curly is the most composed outside of Wendy. Probably one of the smartest out of all of them, but he wants to do it himself. So he says Curly's doing something else. He goes in there, and in this scene, things don't go that well. We see the child in Isaac, who really wants to grow, wants to get his own name, his own identity. We see the child decision making come into play here. And I want to say, I freaking knew it. I freaking knew it. The octopus, this scene here proved to me he was trying to distract whatever her name is on the ship, trying to distract so the other creature can do his thing, not trying to warn her, because he does the same thing to Isaac. So of course Isaac's feeding him. What was interesting is you see what each of these creatures kind of eat. I mean, he gives the sheep like grass, of course, and all that stuff. But then, he goes to get like inorganic material like rocks and metal and all of that stuff to these little bug creatures that are in some kind of hive. He accidentally breaks the door, so he can't use the feeder in it. Again, this is the child decision making here, where he's just like, all right, I'll just go inside and creep in and do it. And that's where Itopus is like, I got you. He gives him a little like, what's up, bro? And then scares him. He hops up. Now he's locked inside of this cage with the one thing he does not want to be locked in with. The one creature that eats inorganic material, which is what he's fully made out of, sprays him with his, it's acid, which basically melts his face, and they start drinking him from the inside out. I think R.I.P. I think that's the last we see of Isaac. I don't know if he's recoverable in any way. And Itopus just observes, which is funny because the whole time I'm like, wolf in sheep's clothing. The whole time, just watching and planning. And honestly, I am starting to love Itopus. From the last 2 episodes, I am loving this creature. It's just so maniacal and
scheming,
just methodical.
son of a bitch.
Just always watching, being like, I'm waiting for my moments. And when my moment comes, like, you are done for. Nothing has been said about this, but I'm starting to wonder, could it be a possibility that Itopus maybe has some kind of telepathic communication aspect where he's maybe communicating with some of these other species? Because we saw him observing on the ship during that scene. And then we saw that creature all of a sudden like escape and go and do something while the octopus and stuff did it. And then in here, again, we see it watching intently, looking inside of the cage, and then just kind of, then you see the fly like bug creatures come out and eat them, and it even like stood up and it was just like celebrating, like, yeah, almost like they had the plan, but we never saw him verbally communicate. So like I'm wondering, does the eye have a way to kind of, is that one thing that they haven't discovered, where he's just kind of directing some of these creatures and just kind of playing like Batman in this and just putting all the pieces in place? Probably completely wrong in there, but it's just that thought popped in my head, because when we've seen these scenes happen, it's just watching intently and we're seeing other creatures do these little strategic moves. So is that a possibility? But what do you guys think of this scene?
I want to touch back on an important word that you said, which was respect. That Isaac, or as he wants to call himself, Isaac wants the respect of Kirsch, but Kirsch does not have respect for Isaac, because what does he call him? He still calls him by his old name, which is Toodles. He does not address him by his new name that he wanted. And so like I felt that was very important, that he still sees them as these objects himself. And I also found it a coincidence that that door was jammed. It was almost as if like Kirsch planned it. You know? Like it just
that one door. That is true.
The one door to the one creature that could harm him. That just, it seemed like it was just too convenient of a situation, honestly. And this is one of those things where
Hmm.
like there's some conveniences that feel purposely written. And we've talked about how Kirsch like obviously has his own plans. He has his own things going on. We don't know fully what it is yet. And I think that he's conducting his own little tests amongst the hybrids and the creatures and everything. And I don't think he even cares for these hybrids, honestly. I
Hmm.
think that he sees these hybrids as a nuisance because he's already the superior being. He's not connected to emotion. He's not connected to earthly humanistic things. He is the peak thing, except for the fact that he can't, kill it willingly, kill humans willingly. Besides that, like he's it. Like, what else do you need at that point? So I can see him just trying to find little ways, maybe, to either test them or get rid of them. That's how this kind of
Hmm.
felt for me on that end. When it comes to the octopus, even I watched that scene and I was just like, "Oh man, you planned that shit."
Yeah.
It's like you got some schemes going on, and you are trying to fucking use everyone and everything to your advantage. And even I didn't think of definitely thought that there was some kind of communications with the eye because when the camera focused super close to the eye, you saw one of the little like pupils or irises, whatever, like come back
Hmm.
up from like behind. And usually how they show, like whenever it takes over a creature, all of the irises come to become one so that it can assimilate properly. Otherwise, when it's in its natural form, they're all over the place.
Mhm.
So I kind of thought like maybe like one of them going off is its way of like communicating in some way, like using like its brain power to do something. So I thought something very similar to what you were thinking, honestly, in that moment, because it's just how it all played out. Yeah, this that thing is definitely got some motives of its own. I still feel
Mm.
like it's better than the fucking alien. That's
Mm.
but like part of me started actually questioning because we keep on calling it he in our conversations,
It's a
but
she. It's a
but
she.
the doctor called it a female. So I even kind of questions like, does it protect the females but try to kill the men? Because there could be something there
Well,
too.
Hmm.
We never saw it
it
try to
tried to.
attack a female. That's why I say that.
Didn't it go in Nib? Try to go to Nibs?
That's true. It did jump at Nibs. Yeah, so there's that
Yeah.
possibility.
They tried to impregnate
Girls
him.
hate
Maybe
girls hate each other,
but
so
maybe
it,
because it
it
wanted to
wouldn't
be
make
her.
sense.
It wanted to be her.
Yeah.
That's why.
But it's true. You bring up a point, and we saw the eye also. The other part that made me think of like that is that it was intently watching Wendy communicating with the xenomorph. So like, was it also kind of watching them communicate, trying to pick up like what it can
Mm,
in there? It's just the way it just watches everything. It's
yeah.
just like I don't know. I really like. I'm becoming a big Octopus fans. I really hope the Octopus does not see its demise by season's end here. I want to see more Octopus in here. But Marie, what were your thoughts on this scene? How it all played out?
Okay, well, a few things. So first thing, I'm not sure if the octopus can communicate. I just think it's that intelligent that it knows how everything else is going to react. Like it just knows that maybe a lot of the other aliens are just like animal instincts, right? So I just think it's that strategic and can play everybody without communication. It's like, well, if I do this, this thing's going to come out and do this. Like, I know if I do this, this is what's going to happen. Because, like you say, it's just watching all the time, right? It's learning all the habits of everything anyway. So I don't even know if it needs to communicate. It just observes so well and retains that information that it knows how everyone's going to react anyway. So that could be a thing. Also, I was wondering too with Kirsch if especially with the elevator scene and how Morrow's like, you're just the old model. The hybrids are the nice shiny new thing. You're old news. So
Yeah.
he's bitter towards the hybrids. They're going to replace his kind, essentially. And I thought that whole thing getting Toodles, whatever, in there was all like he's just bitter about them. He's like, no. I think it kind of was, I think it was a setup. Yeah, for sure. I also think maybe knew that he wouldn't like Curly wouldn't go like he wouldn't ask Curly to go with him because he has so much to prove, right?
He's
So
been
I don't
studying
know.
them.
I just
Yeah.
thought, yeah, exactly. He's studying them too. So he is the Oedipus, kind of. That's why the Oedipus stares at him so intently. Okay, so there's that. Also, I was my husband and I was like yelling at the TV. There's no like I know you're saying like, oh, a kid's thing to do. I'm like, no. I mean, I guess some kids would be like I guess I've never met a kid who has no fear ever. I've never seen a kid who just was like not scared of monsters or something, or like they know these are kind of dangerous. They've seen what they could do. I just was like, you're gonna back in the room. You're backing in slowly. Oh, I'm just gonna go inside. Man, I just feel like open the door, throw the tray, peace. Like done. Like, are you serious? You're gonna be like, oh, dangerous alien in here. I don't know what happened. Like, I just can't buy it. Especially a kid doing it. I just can't.
I would say
I can't. I'm
again,
sorry, I
I
can't.
I owned snakes since I was a child. Like imagine like little 4-year-old me, all right, could barely reach up to the counter. I would feed our like six
Ugh.
foot snake rats
It
and
was your
stuff.
family pet.
But like I would see it bite my dad. And I knew what snakes
Ugh.
could do. I watched
No,
like
I
National
can't.
Geographic and I'd watch like things
I
about
couldn't buy
anacondas
it.
and stuff like
I,
that. Snakes are scary. But like
Also, why didn't he just flick it off? They're super strong, aren't they? Don't they have super strength?
but he's a scientist. He wants to study.
Yes.
Yeah,
I just hated it. I hate it
and
with
I
horror movies and stuff, and it's like, when you're like, just don't do this. Why are you behaving this way? Don't go upstairs. Duh. Like, don't run up the stairs when the stalker's chasing you. Don't back into a room with a strange alien that's under surveillance. Slowly go inside, chuck the tray, and bounce.
yeah.
It just made me mad.
And I don't think this character did not have fear. By the way he was moving, the hesitance as he was going in, he was definitely scared. But I think the need to prove himself that he can do this to Kirsch was more powerful than the fear that he has. So he was like, I need to do this. This has to be done. If not, like Kirsch is gonna be mad. Because you can see the fear in him, even to the point that he's like with his foot trying to keep the door open while he's going in. He's not nonchalantly like walking in there. There was a fear and very bad decision making and how he was doing it.
See,
Oh,
I'd argue, I
Ooh.
think his fear though was more just like not letting the thing get out. I think he was afraid of just messing up opposed to
yes.
fear for his life. Because again, like they know that they're not human anymore. They know that they're stronger, faster, and better. Like they're fully aware of that. And he's one of like the two, three who's constantly learning and reading and evolving himself. So I don't think he's connected to that human side as much anymore as the others. Like if that was Shmi, I think Shmi would have been scared as hell. And he would have been like, screw this, I'm out of here. Like he
Yeah.
wouldn't have
Just
done
chuck it
that.
in.
Yeah, like he
Yeah.
would have ran
Chuck it in.
but he's not at that level anymore. He's at a different place. And like I said, his fear is just screwing up. And I agree with Jose, he showed that.
Yeah. In this brings me to another theory. I saw a piece of this scene a little bit different than you guys saw it, but hearing you guys bring that part off, I can see that as possible. I can see it possible that Kirsch sabotaged that door. Uh, to again just to test. He likes to test all the humans, all the hybrids, always throwing out these questions, but he doesn't give them the answer. He always likes to test. Where I wonder if it was like it wasn't like I'm gonna do this to get Isaac killed, but I'm gonna test to see if Isaac is smart enough not to get himself killed. So he failed the first part, which is not taking Curly with him. He could have jammed the door to be like, I told him follow protocol. Let's see if he follows protocol and kind of testing it that way. So I can see it now. It's definitely heavily possible. But originally, when I saw the scene there, I was like, I didn't think Kirsch. I was like, they're still studying these animals. They still don't have all the answers of these animals. And we haven't seen them looking at that bug creature as much as we have some of the other ones. Do they not know? Maybe they don't know the full capabilities of these creatures. Maybe they know what it can eat and stuff. Do they not know about that, what it spits out? What if that acid, which reacts to that, what if that's what kind of jammed the door? What if it had, with whatever it spits out, had jammed it? He tried, it didn't come out as easy as the other one, tried to pull it, broke the door off. So I was thinking this was like the creature maybe directed by Octopus to do so. but the creature had done that there, and then that's why that specific door is the one that like broke off. But now I can see it both ways. I can also see the curse one. But in the end, we lost Isaac in here, and then I'm sure this comes up to the other moment that Marie wanted to bring up an earlier point, which is and I thought the same thing. I'm like, they need better alerts here.
Yes.
Containment gets
Yeah.
broken. Like we need a little more than the lights in there. Like you know the scientist. He of course yeah he's busy. Doing all this stuff and like packing and everything. So he doesn't seem to scream right away. But why isn't there like a large beep? Like
An
hybrid
alarm.
down, like hybrid
Yeah.
down. Why
Uh,
why isn't like I've fallen, I can't get up, life alert for like the hybrids. So
Yeah.
and then why isn't there more staff outside or at least one guard outside of the door that has all of these like species? Unless they send everyone outside because of the fear of the attack of Yutani, that's the only thing that I can explain it to me. But I did have those questions that I'm sure Marie were on your mind.
Well, they did show that they were the three people that we see were sent outside to do the perimeter or whatever. And I was also thinking, was that Kirsch being like, "Hey, get them away from here so that we can do this, so I can do my test with Toodles in here." Like, I don't know. I don't know. He's a little bit like, what does he have up his sleeve? But yeah, I think that scene with Toodles and the stuff, it's like, well, yeah, they eat electronics, so that's one thing where it's like maybe I should be a little more freaked out because they eat electronics, and I am electronics, but also I think it was also that lack of urgency too. Again, where we see that a lot in this show, where there's not enough urgency with things. And I was just like, dude, you're way too calm for going into a room with a strange being that eats electronics. Like, you're just way too, maybe you're scared, but like, it's just one of those things like you see in horror movies. You're like, these people are making stupid ass decisions, like so dumb. But
I mean, it
yeah,
does
where was
it does play with what we've seen from Isaac before. We saw how he reacted to the plant on the
yeah,
ship, where he was just like, "Let me get
he's more
closer to this
he's more
plant."
curious, I guess.
yeah.
I just made me like, close the fucking door, kid. What are you doing? But also, yeah, this again, why? Because all the hybrids are monitored too. Like they have all cameras and stuff. So there's only one person working with the cameras to check everything at all times, it seems. They need
It
some sort of,
it seems like you have to go in to that's the monitor room, but you have to actually go in and be like, okay, I want to look at what this hybrid's been doing. And you have to like manually kind of look at it. They don't have people constantly observing what's in there. It's just more of a, all right, I need to check something. Let's go check what Nibs has been doing all day. Let's go check what Wendy has been doing.
Something that popped into me, I wondered if either one of you felt this. How did you feel when Toodles died? Like when they killed off Toodles?
That sucked.
That sucked. How about you, Marie? It's like whatever.
I was kind of like, well, I saw it coming when because of the fact that he was giving him an electronics trade for food, I was like, oh, he's gonna die. Like right away, I just knew this thing's gonna eat him. Like so, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, and I felt kind of like I don't know, I didn't have much emotional reaction to it.
Okay. Well, for me, it was different, I will say. Like first off, since episode one, I've known that most of the hybrids are on the chopping block. That
Yeah,
was like an obvious thing. But it didn't negate the fact that it's like they're still children. Like even though they're in adult bodies, I still see children because that's what I'm supposed to see. And so
Hmm.
when one
yeah,
dies, it feels wrong. It's like when someone kills a dog in a movie, it's like don't kill the dog. I feel like that rule goes with
yeah,
kids. You don't kill kids. And it made me think back to like Alien 3. No, I think it's universal. None of us are happy that Newt was killed off screen,
Yeah.
when they survived Aliens 2. And watching this, I kind of refelt that again, where it's just like, this
And it
doesn't
was
feel right.
brutal. It was
Yeah, it was
brutal.
really brutal. That's the thing. It's like, I know he's not an adult. I know he's actually a kid. And it's like, so this kid just got mutilated by acid, you know? And I felt like I wasn't comfortable with that. It didn't sit well with me that that was put there. You know, it's kind of like what you were talking about before, Marie. I think a long time ago we were talking about like the movie Poor Things, and the
Yeah.
idea of that character is
Uh,
being it's
yeah,
mentally a child, you know.
I know what you're saying.
And so like
yeah.
having that there, it's just like
Mhm.
it didn't hit right. It felt really wrong for me.
I think, but it's hard because at the same time, when you guys are talking about Wendy, it's like, well, she's not a kid anymore. She said she isn't, and it's like, well, where do you know what I'm saying with that?
But she's not in a
Like if
jeopardizing situation
no, no,
in
no, but she will
comparison.
be, and she has been. I'm just saying, like, when are these kids not kids anymore because they're like a couple of them, it's like you can tell that they're still really childish, but we don't know just because Wendy says I'm not a kid anymore doesn't mean she isn't. But it's okay for her to be like all grown up. But maybe I know this is how they're working around everything. They're working around child death by putting them in adult bodies for the show.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Like if Wendy
I don't know.
died, I'd
I
feel the
know
same way. I'd
And then that's the thing.
that's tough.
They're
I
creating.
didn't look at him like a kid. I didn't. Maybe
Yeah,
that's I separated the two.
yeah. They're adding multiple questions here. You have the child versus adult question when it comes to these hybrids because they're in adult bodies, but they were child brains. And then, they process faster, they develop faster. So it was like, how quickly do they move out of that child phase? And then we have
Hmm.
the human versus machine aspect. So you got two sets of questions when it comes to this hybrid. Is it a kid? Is it not a kid? Is it a machine? Is it a human? Aspect. So that creates, like, depending on how you look at it, you can mold it as an adult machine, or you could as a kid machine, or a kid human, or a kid machine. So it's weird.
yeah.
So I can see your side of it, George. I think in the scene I was so focused on other things I didn't think of it that way. But when you break it
I
down,
didn't
it's like
either.
I'm
I
like,
know. Thanks,
damn, that
George.
is
Now I'm gonna
true.
go into the next episode and be like, okay, they're all children. Can't watch the show anymore. No.
I think you'll
But
feel it when Shmi dies because he's the one who's latched onto that child mentality the most.
yeah,
Yeah, he has that vulnerability. We also didn't
Yeah,
spend a lot of time with them before as children, so it's like you kind of forget. It's like they're saying they're just kids, but it's like we didn't spend time with them as kids. So there's something in my brain that's not connecting them to being children, but you're right. And I
yeah.
actually really love that you felt that way, and I feel guilty as hell now that I'm not more sad because I'm
yeah.
like, oh yeah, oh no.
I thought you
Okay, so
would have
yeah,
too. I
I like
figure it's like Marie's probably gonna feel
no,
this the way I do, right?
I didn't, and now I'm like, oh shoot.
Yeah.
I was too obsessed with it. I'm like, good dumb kid. You walk in
See,
slowly, it's
and
what you
Jose,
get.
that proves my point. See, men can be very paternal.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Uh, Speaking of being protective, we have very obviously this guy would suck as a spy. We have Wendy's brother, Hermit, the entire show,
uh,
thinking he's being slick, asking all these questions, planning an escape, and everyone can see through everything. Like at first, it was like, oh, it's Kirsch. Kirsch is gonna catch on very easily. But even his security buddy was like, I know what you're trying to do. Like, stop it. Like,
Hmm.
everyone's
asking your
catching on.
questions.
Yeah, everyone is catching on to this, and he's being protective. And finally, he found someone in a vulnerable spot, which was a scientist who was able to give him at least concepts of a plan on how to escape. A boat code. Showed him how to deactivate these trackers so they can't track them. So now he's got some tools. But does Wendy want to go? That is the question. And we saw here Wendy's mindset with everything that is happening with the communication with the xenomorphs and her interactions with different members of Prodigy. Her thought process is changing a little bit. And it kind of almost seems she's leaning more towards the machine aspect of herself than the human one because kind of reflecting Morrow and how he's done is there seems like a disappointment in human behavior is kind of pushing her towards the machine side, kind of like we discussed about Morrow, which leads her to confronting what's her name, Sylvia,
Dame.
confronting Dame. Well, I think Dame Sylvia is her name.
Yeah.
Yeah, confronting Dame regarding what they did to Nibs in this scene.
I understand it. I like that she's having this like inner conflict between what does it actually mean to be human when you humans are being so, well, in her mind, like the humans are being so like cold and heartless and like kind of more machine. And I mean we all go through that where we're like, oh, humanity blows. I hate this. Like get me out of here. That's the theme of the whole show. But I'm scared, it scares me that she's gonna team up with the xenomorph now to like get the humans. You know what I mean? I look at the show as like a whole. So then I'm thinking like, okay, she's communicating with the xenomorph. She has more compassion towards other living things. She's losing compassion against with the humans. So what's she gonna do? She's gonna like side with the xenomorph and the aliens to like unleash just hell on the humans. Like I don't know where it's gonna go. So something like that might be happening. But then would she not is she gonna lose trust for her brother because he's a human and she doesn't like the way humans are acting? I don't know. I don't know. But I like the moral dilemma within her right now because everyone goes through that.
I don't see her as being against humans in like the
But
grand
seeing the
scheme
dark
of
side of
things.
humans,
Yeah,
but
she's seeing the
yeah.
dark side, but
Hmm.
like how her and her brother had that conversation of like, he's like, those are monsters, whatever, they'll kill you and all that stuff. And she's just like, no, like they're like us, It's like you're just not seeing. It's like she made that connection. It's like how a hive or a colony, they're also a community. They're not humans, but they're a community regardless. They also work together and, have a common goal with each other. And I feel like that's what she's seeing with all living beings. And I think what her thing is preservation of all life. I think it's just a flat statement for her where she doesn't see the need to hurt any other creatures. So I think her goal is just to protect everybody and statement, you know what I mean? And if someone tries to get in the way, maybe they might get taken out. So like when she killed that one xenomorph, it's because it was getting in the way of her get reuniting with her brother. Otherwise, she probably would have left it alone. I don't think she would have wanted to fight that thing at all. And I think that's how it's going to be going forward. She doesn't want to fight unless it gets in the way of ultimate peace, per se.
And I think you're right, George. And you can see that in the comment that she made when she was talking to her brother, when the brother was like, that thing tried to kill us. And she was like, not that one,
Yeah,
referring to the new one there. She's creating the difference in her mind and not lumping everything of a species within one. She's recognizing that the humans are both evil, but there is good. It's her brother.
yeah,
But then you have prodigy humans, which are she's starting to see as evil when she didn't before. Xenomorph, she saw a bad one, but now with the connection she's creating with the new one, she's seeing this like, okay, what the other xenomorph did does not affect this xenomorph. This is his own being. And she's kind of, I think you're right, just putting that perspective to all living things and kind of leaning towards preservation of life, not putting human above all, which is that conversation that she's having with it, where it's just like, well, do, do I want to be just human because humans are proving to be pretty bad? A lot of the ones that I'm confronting. So, like, should I be putting human above all? So we'll see how that plays out because she's going to be faced with decisions. Unfortunately, in these type of situations and for the sake of entertainment to the viewers, you can never preserve all. There's always has to be a decision to be made because that's just these type of stories and what happens.
yeah,
And then, speaking of not preserving all, we get into like the final scene and we see the doctor, one of the good humans, quote unquote, who did care for the hybrids and was trying to protect the hybrids and lost his job for trying to protect the hybrids, had one of the hybrids turn on him and I mean pretty much kill him
yeah.
in a way
He
in
lost
there.
everything that day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not the ones that are treating them like objects and profit or any of that stuff. Who does the hybrid turn on? The one that was looking out for them. and he traps them in there. Facehugger gets out, attaches, and then he hides them, and we know what happens from there. We're gonna get another xenomorph. The doctor is a goner, and we had Kirsch on his tablet watching this entire thing. We knew he was keeping information before from Boy Cavalier, not saying things. Now he's straight up lying to him and told them everything was okay. So how do you guys
Well,
feel about that?
I'd say he bent the truth. And I mean that in the sense because, like, by his perspective, according to his testings, everything is okay.
The problem is contained within the lab.
Yeah. Like, as far as he's concerned, like, especially for him, like, there's nothing for him to worry about. He's okay. Everyone else, maybe not so much. But just it's all about that perspective, I think. And he's using that perspective to his advantage to not necessarily lie, but just bend the truth a little bit.
That was sad just because he was a sweet man. But I have a question though. Why was he struggling so hard to lift him to put in the vent? Like when he's putting his body in the vent, the kid. What's his
Oh,
name?
slightly.
Slightly.
Slightly, thank you. Like it shows him putting him in the vent, and he's like, ugh, ugh. And I'm like, I thought you guys were super strong. Like, why are you struggling to lift up this guy to put him in the vent? There's a
I mean,
couple
because they
things in this
forgot. That's why.
episode.
Because they forgot.
Yeah.
Well, there's a couple things in this episode where I'm like, the hybrids aren't like they're why aren't they like they're strong? They're supposed to be kind of like supreme. They felt really human in this
Yeah.
episode. Like their bodies were really
Yeah.
human.
Which is weird
And
because he
like they
dragged them over there pretty easily.
Very easily,
Then
yeah.
he struggled to get him in the vent. But
Yeah,
he
and then he
dragged
was
them
just like,
over easily.
oh, like to lift him was like, and he was actually grunting, and I was like, okay. And then when they closed, and then they closed the grate, I'm like, oh, the grate's metal. That fly can just spray a spit at it and melt it, but he didn't do it. And I'm like, why isn't it? Why does make it make sense? Sorry, but I thought that was sad. The scene, anyway, it was sad. Did we jump past the scene where? Yes, of course we did, because he's dead now. How a dude just walks away from his laptop with everything open, like the boat code and everything, and
Oh.
Wendy and shutting her down, and he just leaves it open and walks away. And my husband's like, "Dude, like delete that
Well,
browser history. What are you doing?"
well, that's because he I think that he noticed what happened
Oh, I know
with
why he
Isaac,
walked away.
so he kind
I
of
know
just ran
why.
out.
I know, but you left the evidence up that you shut down Wendy's fucking tracking. You gave the boat code. It's up on the screen.
I
I
mean,
would
it
just like
show
like
that
I know.
that shows how much he actually cared for them. That
Yeah,
made it even
that's how I felt.
sadder. That made it even
Yeah.
I
sadder.
guess.
Like he put himself at risk, not being detail
Yes.
oriented, to make sure Isaac is okay, and the hybrid just turned on him.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
fully
yeah.
illogical either
Yeah.
because he's also the same one who was working on Wendy's hearing before they went out to go like save her brother, and like he never fixed it before they left. So it's not the first time that he's had like a slightly negligible situation happen to him. But like I agree with Jose,
Turn him
like
off
he
for
just
targeting?
he
For
cares.
tracking?
He cares because he cares so
No,
much. He
I
got
know, I
distracted.
get it.
Yeah.
I know he got distracted.
Like you
It
never
was
left
I
the
was
door
just
open
like,
from
dude,
because you got distracted by something?
never, George. I'm not a dumbass.
You never left the refrigerator door open or some shit, you know what I mean? And they're like, oh shit, I didn't close the
No.
refrigerator. Or I forgot to turn the light off, it's like that.
Well, it's gonna come back. I know it's gonna come back, and someone's gonna see it or something. I hope,
Yeah.
because it was left open.
Yeah.
I just little things bother me about the show. I'm
If
sorry, I
there's
can't help it.
anyone left to see
I
it.
I nitpick this show like so crazy because I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know why. I just do.
Because
Anyway,
there's a lot wrong. Like I agree, there's a
there
lot
is a
wrong.
lot
There's a
wrong.
lot but this episode had a
There's
lot
just
right too, though. I
it
gotta like,
it did. I actually liked it still.
yeah, like I was telling this to Jen last night, and she's just like, "So how's it going with this piece of shit?" I was like, "It's getting better, all right." Like the thing about this show, it's like other shows that we like. Like we love Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is one of our favorite shows ever. But you know what? There was some stuff wrong with it, but that doesn't take away from the stuff I enjoyed. And that's how I'm at with this show right now. Like there's some stuff like we talk about the Kirsch and Morrow scenes, like those are freaking so good. Really good writing. The way they manipulate with everybody, awesome. Boy Cavalier's starting to get better now. It's like, all right,
Yeah.
we're seeing some things plan out. But then,
Octopus,
I agree. I agree.
We can't forget about the
Octopus, yeah.
His love affair with the octopus.
Octopus is awesome and sucks all at the same time because it's the most intriguing alien on the Alien show and it's not the Xenomorph. The Xenomorph should be the most intriguing thing, but it's
Yeah.
not. It's that damn
Yeah.
eye, and
Right.
I hate fucking eyes.
The
So my damn eye
octopus
phobia
is
is the
the
worst.
captain
Every time a thing's on screen, I was like, I love watching you, and I hate watching you all at the same time. Oh. But
I would say
Better
this.
when
there's
it's in a
ups and
body.
downs with this show
When it
now.
hosts, yeah.
We're going to find out in the ensuing episodes. She already has a big X against her, big mark. But we're gonna find out how good of a wife Dame is if she, doesn't question. Like I know no one else will question because he's supposed to leave the island by that night. So other people will be like, okay, he listened. But like if she, her husband just left, doesn't try to check in or anything, is going to tell you that was probably a loveless marriage right there. And she was just, didn't care about him. And maybe it was better that he ended that way before he found out.
No, he deserved someone who loved him the way that he loved. Um,
I wanna point out there's something
It
interesting
wasn't
too.
slightly.
They had trouble conceiving children,
mhm.
and now he is impregnated
Oh, snap!
with an alien, and he's the one who seems like really wants to have the family. Not that she doesn't, but like that's something he probably really, really wanted, and now he gets to give birth.
Oh, well, that's beautiful for him.
Silver linings.
No, I will say though, I was all like a lot of my notes were like picking it apart, but after it was over, it's one of the better episodes though. Like it's really like it's my second favorite episode.
2 strong episodes back.
Yeah, last week was the pivot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I know I'm bitching, but it was. And also, but I have to say I did love that shot with the xenomorph coming down of its tail down into the cage. I
Yeah.
was like, that was sexy. That's the way. Yeah, that was good. Like I like that. I was like, damn, that's good.
Which in that other scene there where the last focus is on Octopus and he's just kind of got that expression like checkmate.
That was you like, that's sexy. She's like, that's my kind of woman. Yeah. You're a bad girl.
I will. Anyway, we got two strong episodes back to back. We have 4 more to go in the season because I think there's only 10 or is there 8?
8. There's only 8 episodes. There's 2 episodes left.
2 more. All right, so we're
Yeah.
down to the final 2. I don't know if it's going to take the entire 6-week quarantine, if we're going to kind of jump and cover those 6 weeks of quarantine within that, or is everything going to go down before the quarantine ends? But we will see. I am excited, and if you are excited too and you want to hear more on this show, you got to make sure to tune in next week when we're going to be covering episode 7. I want to thank those of you that joined us for this bonus NASS episode. If you enjoyed this episode and want to catch any of our previous episodes, including Alien Earth episodes that we have up, as well as future episodes, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. That way you're alerted when we do put something out. And I promise you, we're going to be putting out other stuff that's not strictly Alien Earth, but this is where our focus is right now because we're all big fans of the franchise as a whole. If you didn't enjoy this episode, well, maybe some of the other ones are more up your alley. So make sure to check those out. You can find our show on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, pretty much anywhere where podcasts are found. And if you love all our amazing personalities, or you just want to hate watch, you can find us on Not a Strong Star on all major social media platforms. I have been your host for this episode, Jose, which you can find me at This Is Me Nombre on Instagram.
I've been your other guy, George, and you can follow me at Nicolapolis.
And I'm Marie, who gets mad at things for no reason and likes to complain about things for no reason, but I actually still liked it. So you can follow
Hey, Mikey,
me
she
and
likes it.
Yeah, I liked it. And I was like, ugh. And then like But you can follow me at Marie Plays It All. I should add my other Instagram page on there because I'm on there more. But anyway, if you want to see more contradictory views of mine.
And as always, we might not always have a strong start, but we guarantee sometimes, maybe, possibly having a strong finish. So until next time.